Thanks for finding my channel. This is my backgammon learning journey, which I want to share with you because it's the best game ever. So let's go under the backgammon microscope. Okay, for today's video, we've got a league match in the pub on a very nice Geoffrey Parker board, as you can see, beautiful board. Apologies, the camera is a bit dark. Right, we're in the third game, so I've gone the first two games without making a blunder, so that must be progress. What you can see here that's happened is that I've accepted a cube that was a pass. I'm going to talk about the PRaT acronym, PRT, shortened to PRaT so we can remember it. It's a known acronym that helps us decide whether to take or even to cube, actually. Some people don't like it, some people think it's not very flexible and it can be misleading. And I'm sort of inclined to agree with that in a way, but if I'd used it on this occasion, I probably would have worked out that this was a drop. P stands for position, but there are three subcategories: primes, points, pieces back. So the idea is that you look at all three. Primes, you decide that I'm worse, so that's bad. Points made, I have more, that's good. And pieces back, I have two back, red doesn't, so I'm worse. So I've lost P of the PRaT. R stands for race, I'm down in the race, I've lost that. And T stands for threats, I don't have any of those. So basically I've lost all three, so that's quite an easy drop if we use the PRaT acronym, and the PRaT acronym is accurate in this instance. If it is, it's an easy drop, and one I probably would have come to if I'd done the P part a bit more diligently. I didn't go into enough detail in the P part, so I'm a bit of a PRaT here. It was a 0.442 equity loss, going quite big. But anyway, that's a little insight into PRaT, and it can be useful, but it's not 100% foolproof. Right, a bit later on, we're now trailing 1-4. I'm on the bar and I roll 4-4, which is like, oh great, I can come off, I can hit. He's now on the bar, that's brilliant. And I start thinking about getting checkers in because it's a double. Really, really novice way of thinking about this. I nearly get the move right, but what I should be doing is clearly not what I did do. That's the position. I had, as I said, I was just excited that I could hit and bring checkers down, and didn't really think it mattered that much what I did. Well, it does, and the right way to play it is this. And the finishing position after this correct roll is this, and you'll notice that there are now lots of possibilities for making that bar point. This one's all about leaving yourself more opportunities to contain that check, and even further the one that's on the bar that you've just put on the bar, by diversifying your position and giving yourself more rolls to make that bar point. So, as I've summarised, a play that initially looked routine has more depth to it. And this is often the case in backgammon, and it definitely is if you play too fast, but something to be looking for when you get all excited that you've rolled what you think is a great roll, and oh, let's just run in and get the win. No, there's still more to think about. There's still more ways to improve your position, and there definitely was here. So I did win that last game. We're now 2-4. I roll 4-2, and I get distracted by the fact that I can fill in that ace point because it looks so neat, tidy. Why not do it? But focus on the right end of the prime. Red's already gone past me. I don't really need to fill that in just yet. It's much more important that I get checkers in. That's going to serve me much better in the long run. So bring both checkers in here. Don't fart about making the ace point. You're going to leave yourself an odd number of checkers on the outside as well, which is going to be awkward potentially. As I say, I filled in the ace point because I could, but that's never a good reason to do something. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. The race is close here, so I need to bring them in. And it was an oversight because I got all interested again in making an ace point because it looked nice. Right, this one isn't actually a blunder, it's an error. This is me trying the move that actually would have been correct. I'm trying it out, looking at it, thinking, do I want to do it? And I decide not to. Which on reflection is a bit strange, because it's obviously a good move. I get to hit and make a homeboard point. But I convinced myself that I was burying a checker. Well, I'm not so sure it's burying a checker if you're making a point that you're not going to shift. It's a point in your homeboard. I did play 8-7, thinking that made sense, and it does in one sense. But the 18-14 bit doesn't particularly. And, you know, I think the hit and cover is going to be the best play here because it is achieving two things, whereas making the bar point and then 18-14 is only really achieving making the bar point. I think I talked myself into this error, sorry, it's not quite a blunder, by thinking I was burying a checker. But as I say, I think if you make a point whilst hitting, I'm not sure that qualifies as burying a checker. I mean, it is technically because you can't use those two checkers again, but you have made a point in your home board, which is an asset for the rest of the game. It is annoying to pick the best play initially and then not do it, and that does happen a lot, but that's not the thing you should be focusing on, I think. It's just focusing on what you were thinking when you got it wrong and trying to fix that. Right, I'll freely admit this one's a bit silly. I roll 6-2, initially bring it out into the outfield and put it back, because I've looked at it and gone, oh, I'm 6 away, I'm likely to be hit. Totally failing to notice that I've just made my closeout board, which is the perfect cover to come out with your back checkers. Almost embarrassing really, but there you go. I am still quite new to the game and trying to improve. I realise now straight away what happened. At least I noticed I was 6 away, and that would be the most number of rolls. That's a good thing that I did. But of course it's not a good thing because I've just made my closeout. My opponent is not going to hit me. If he notices I've got a closeout, which I'm sure he did, he's not going to hit me unless he has to. So now's the time to come out. I'm actually a little surprised it's not a bigger blunder than the .256, but hey ho, it was pretty dumb, and hopefully I won't do that again. Right, you can't actually hear me say it on the video, which I've turned the sound down because it's a very noisy pub. It's very distracting. I actually said I'd rather have the anchor, which is what I do. I make the anchor. That's my roll 2-1. I didn't like the look of the hit because I thought, well, it just wasn't going to achieve blah blah, and I'm going to end up leaving 2 blots if I go for the double hit. But what's wrong with that? At this stage, what's wrong with that? 2 on the bar is always very strong. Be disruptive. Stop red escaping. He's already quite close to escaping. If I make my the anchor, it's not bar anchor, if I make an anchor in his own board, I'm basically just asking him to escape, and I'm asking him to hit me as well. He's 6 away and 7 away, so that's pretty stupid to not hit. So I should have hit at least once. If we double hit, is red likely to hit me twice? Oh, only if he rolls 5-4, which is a 1 in 18 shot, isn't it? So although it looks mad, I'm trying to train myself to realise that it isn't. Although it looks mad, it's not mad to hit double hit here. It's actually the right time to do it. Right, little game of spot the difference. Can you tell what's different between this and every other game of backgammon I've ever played? Apart from my poor play. Yeah, something quite amazing happened. I was so busy chatting with my opponent in the break between games that we carried the chat on into the next game, and he didn't put all his checkers on his midpoint. So he started the game with 3 checkers off the board. And unbelievably, we didn't notice. The game actually was quite short, and I cubed and he dropped, so we probably would have noticed if we'd kept going much further. The correct play here is to hit, which I did do, but then what I should be doing is unstacking my midpoint because it's very heavy. And the incorrect play also strips the 8 point. And I actually looked at it and wasn't totally convinced that my play that I did was correct. So that's good that I was unsure. But it's also pretty bad that I didn't notice he only had 2 checkers on his midpoint. But like I say, we were talking about mutual friends in the gap between games, and I think we just got carried away and started the next game when we probably shouldn't have done. It didn't affect the result of this game or the match really. As I say, I ended up cubing and he dropped, but it's easily done if you get distracted. But the reason my play here is bad is because I need to unstack the midpoint and I need to leave the 8 point not stripped. Right, score is now 7-9, getting a bit close to the end. I did actually consider the cube here and turned it down. It would have been a cube. It wasn't a huge error to not do it. I hit here with the 4 and bring the checker up with the 3, and it's not the right play. This is one of the bugbears that I've got. I tend to hit when I shouldn't, and I think that's a more obvious error. I mean obvious in the sense that more people do it, they hit when they shouldn't, because it's hard to tell yourself not to do it. That's what I should have played. I should have played 24-20 and 11-8. I need to get that back checker moving. But the key detail is here that there's no point in hitting. I've already got red's back checker where I want it. And if we also consider the fact that I had turned down the cube because the position looked too even, apparently it was a cube, but I turned it down, didn't do it. If I thought the position looked too even, then why am I hitting and risking being sent back 20 plus pips? You know, if I think the position's even, then I wouldn't want that to happen, would I? So the logic gate got a bit screwed up here, I think. This one's a bit of a double whammy because I get it wrong twice. I offer the cube, my opponent takes it very quickly. Quite often a bad sign, not usually, not always. I then roll 5-4, Because I've miscounted the race and think it's a lot closer than it is, I take the decision to run with it. Although I'm hesitating, you can see, but I do take the decision to run because the roll looks perfect to do that. Now, I've just got a bit trigger happy with the cube here. I'm sort of aware I could do with cubing, although it's not really. Panic stations at 8, 9 to 11. That's the position. I thought, well, I've got 11 rolls to hit. But the XG data there says I'm not even a favourite. In fact, I'm a significant underdog. So I've picked a bad time here. I've got a back checker trap, that doesn't help. If I'd asked myself, am I in good shape if I don't get hit? If I don't get to hit that checker, the red checker, if I hadn't have hit that, am I in good shape? The answer would have been no, and this is where the PRaT acronym might fall down. If I went through that process, I might come to the decision that this was a cube when it isn't, because I just have to answer that question. If I don't get to hit, am I in good shape? The answer is no, so it's not a cube. This would have been the correct play to make the 3 point. But what happened was, because I cubed incorrectly, it led to a bad checker play, if that makes sense. It's a compound error. One error has led to another. If I hadn't have cubed, it's possible I may well have taken longer to actually count the race, or count the race a bit more accurately, and then I would have probably realised that I needed to actually wait and make a home board point instead. Oh well, I did get punished for that dodgy cube, and I lost 8 to 11. But as usual, it was lots of fun, lots of interesting spots, and I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.